nothing changes.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. And today I want to talk about some of the clothing brands in 2020 that you should be always looking for. This has been true since last year and nothing has changed this year. These are items that when you post them, you really won't be waiting a month or 2 or 3 or 4 months for them to sell. You should start getting sales or at least offers or interest in these or bids if you choose to do auctions. I don't recommend that, but these are items that you put up, buy it now, and you should definitely get best offers if you accept them, or at least questions, messages, all kinds of interest and views on them right away, because they're some of the top trending items on eBay, on Posh, anywhere that you want to resell. And so I just want to run down 10 of them, and I'll try to put as many up here in the corner as I can with some sold prices, just so you get some ideas. And number one is an interesting one. It is summertime, so you wouldn't think this. You would think this more in the winter, but these sell all year round. It's bomber jackets. It's leather, aviator, and bomber jackets. So there's really no brand that you need to look for. Any brand is good. I've sold tons of different brands I've never even heard of. You'll see some of them up here in the corner. And really just go do a search on eBay or Poshmark for bomber jackets, and then check solds, or aviator jackets. Check solds, leather bomber, leather aviator. Take a look at what you find. You're not gonna find thousands and thousands of them, but the ones that you will find, if you happen to get one out in the wild or thrift stores or offline, even sometimes I've seen people buy them off of eBay too cheap, flip them to Posh or vice versa. They find one that's like 30, 40 bucks, they buy it and then they list it for 130 or 40. A lot of these jackets are easily 100 plus, 150 plus. Just like Harley Davidson jackets, which add that to your list too. They're worth a lot of money and people will pay up for them all the time. So bomber jackets, number one. I'm gonna go through 15 of these. So hopefully this will help you guys up your game. And even if you don't find all of these, you'll find some of them. So number two is Lululemon and women's yoga pants. So everybody knows that Lululemon is kind of the top of the mountaintop when it comes to workout and yoga pants. They're very, very expensive. People sell used ones for 40, 50, 60 bucks all day long. Brand new on their website and like retail MSRP. These things are like $80 to $100 in some cases. I know there's some cheaper ones, some more expensive, but for the most part, these things sell and they sell right away. So obviously I don't do yoga, but every woman that I know and every woman that I've done business with or that I live with or whatever has told me that these are the most comfortable yoga and workout pants in existence and that they are worth the money because they last. That's one thing that's really important to me with my clothing. I've told you guys before, I pay for jeans. My jeans are retail about $125 to $150. Now I have paid that for jeans. But usually I buy them from Men's Warehouse. They sell silver jeans. I love silver jeans. Usually they have like buy one, get one half off. So you can pay like $125, get the other pair for 60 bucks. So you're 180. So you're only out like 90 bucks. Sometimes I even get them for like 70 or 80 a pair when I buy 2 or 3 at a time. And so a $70, $80 pair of jeans for me, if it's going to last me 5 years, 4 or 5 years, that's 10 bucks a year, 15 bucks a year, right? If I go out and buy a $20, $30 pair of cheapy jeans at like, say, I don't even know, at like a Target or, at the department stores or whatever, where I do sometimes see $30, $40 jeans, polo jeans on sale for 30, 35 bucks. Polo jeans do not last at all. I'm not a fan of them. Silver jeans last. And so if your Lululemon are costing you 50, 60 bucks, but they're going to last you 5, 6 years, great investment, perfect, no problem with that at all. So number two, Lululemon used pants. Most everything Lululemon will sell, but all of their used yoga pants, workout gear, and other brands also are good, but Lulu is the top of the mountain. So always keep an eye out for that sort of thing. Look up the price comps because some brands are not worth anything. Number three, vintage band shirts. So this takes a little bit of research and a little bit of education and knowledge. So most band shirts that are actually old, 70s, 80s, 90s, and are legitimate, which the research comes into play where you have to know how to tell that they are actually old. Single stitching, the old school loop stitching. There's all kinds of different types of things. I don't know if they call it loop stitching, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It kind of looks like a loop, like a U. There's the single stitch where you have like one line of stitching rather than the new age double stitch. That's one way to tell, but there's also that weird type stitching somebody showed me on some of the older shirts. They used to do it differently. So any of that type of stitching will give away an actual vintage shirt. Not always, but most of the time. A lot of the reproductions, the new ones that were made in the 2000s, they're not going to be worth the $100, $200, $300 like those legitimate 70s and 80s and even 90s shirts are going to be worth. We're talking about Queen. We're talking about the Grateful Dead. We're talking about AC/DC. We're talking about, you know, any of those old time bands. Kiss, some of the old Kiss shirts are worth a fortune. So again, I'll put some up here in the corner so you can see them. They're just old shirts and people love them, especially if they came from the concert and that was really the only place you could get it was during like a world tour in 1985. You know, possibly like maybe you found a Axl Rose Guns N' Roses shirt or a Slash shirt or something. Those are really collectible, so keep an eye out for them. Some of the new band shirts, like, you know, a Taylor Swift 2010 concert shirt where she did her first concert or whatever year it was. Some of those are collectible. They'll be worth $15, $20, $25. So you can still buy them, but it's definitely the old ones you want to look for. Okay, number 4, my favorite, men's Hawaiian shirts. Old, vintage, new, doesn't matter. Tommy Bahama, one of my favorites. People say the market is flooded. There is a lot of inventory, but there's a lot of buyers for men's Tommy Bahama shirts at 20, 25, 30 bucks all day long. It's a bread and butter. Rain Spooner, that's R-E-Y-N, Rain Spooner. Many of those shirts are between $30 and $50 in the used market. So keep an eye out for men's Hawaiian shirts, even some off-brand ones with big, bright graphics, margarita glasses, parrots, anything with bright, you know, abnormal. If it just has leaves and palm trees, floral, it's bread and butter. You might be able to make a few bucks on it, $15, $20. But if it's got something original, it could be like a $30, $40, $50 plus shirt. So just keep that in mind for men's Hawaiian shirts. They do really well and they sell and they have a huge market and a huge following. All right, so number 4? So number 5 is Lilly Pulitzer dresses. If you're not familiar with the brand Lilly Pulitzer, it's P-U-L-I-T-Z-E-R. Get familiar with it now because it sells and it sells so fast. Every time I look up Lilly items and Lilly dresses, it has one of the highest sell-through rates you will ever see on eBay for women's items, women's brands. It's always in the top of eBay's sourcing guidance section for how to source brands and which brands are the most seasonal or moving. It doesn't matter year round. Lilly is always in the top 10. Like, it never fails no matter what I'm looking up. If Lilly makes it, it's almost always in the top 10 and it's typically in the top 5. So always something to keep an eye out for. Lilly Pulitzer. The dresses do phenomenal. 30, 40, 50 bucks, not unheard of on most of those dresses. So if you can find them, definitely do. All right, I kind of touched on it. I mentioned it for number 6. Harley Davidson anything. The old school vintage shirts, again, look for research and know how to tell the old 70s, 80s, 90s ones. But even the newer ones, if they have a unique location, Harley Davidson, New York City is pretty much one that everyone goes and sees. It's a great city, it'll sell. But if you find one from Harley Davidson Qatar, which is a country out in the Middle East, I sold the shirt in 3 days for like 35 bucks because it's a unique location. Dubai, I sold one from the Maldives, which was really weird, but it sold. Okay, so that was Harley Davidson shirts. Also their vests, their jean jackets and vests. Robert Graham, Vineyard Vines, and dress shirts. So you guys know I'm a huge Robert Graham fan. I collect them. The shirts are $150 to $250 brand new. They'll all day sell for 50 to 100 bucks. Most of them, some of them cheaper if they're plain, solid, or just regular stripes, $30 to $40. Most of the graphical ones, $50 to $75, up to $100. So keep an eye out for those. Also, the Vineyard Vines dress shirts, really, really good. Same as Robert Graham. They don't have big graphics, but Vineyard Vine just sells really, really well. Again, in the corner, I'll put some of those for you guys. All right, next is plus size clothing from women's. So brands like Lane Bryant and Torrid, they just fly off the shelves. There's actually some people with sell-through rates that are 2, 3, 4 times what other people's sell-through rates are with the same type items because this person sells normal clothing, normal size clothing, and this person sells all plus size. Plus size sell-through rates, do yourself some research one night. Go into eBay, look up some of those plus size brands. Lane Bryant and Torrid, T-O-R-R-I-D, are 2 of the great brands. Jeans, capris, dresses, tops, doesn't matter what it is. Just plus size brands and clothing alone for women. Big and tall for men does well as also, but plus size women's, phenomenal clothing, and it always, always sells. So keep an eye out for those type of items. Anywhere that you go, most thrift stores have a plus size section. Go over there, flip through, look the items up, look the brands up, become familiar with those, and get the prices in your head so you know that you can pick up a $2 or $3 item. Normally sells for 15 or 20. The plus size is gonna sell for 25 or 30, and it's usually gonna sell faster. So keep an eye out for that stuff. Okay, moving on to number 9. Number 8 was plus size. Number 9 is designer neckties. So neckties are typically a slow moving item, and that's very true with almost every necktie. They have a low sell-through rate, weeks and months to sell. But if you happen to stumble upon some of the designer names, Louis Vuitton, Burberry, Hermes, Ferragamo to a point, and even Donald Trump ties, Vineyard Vine ties. I know what you guys might think about the last one. Just ignore that. But it sells. Vineyard Vines, like I just said, any of those brands, they will sell almost immediately. Whenever I list a Burberry tie or Hermes tie, I start getting offers and interest on it immediately. Also, ties are typically a low-cost item, couple dollars, easy to store, easy to ship, and they sell for high profit margins if you're selling the ties. Most ties, we're talking about like Marc Jacobs ties, Tommy Hilfiger, Polo ties, Calvin Klein, all the standard ties, $8, $10, $12. Even Jay Garcia ties are down around $13 to $15 now. Most ties you're looking at buying for $1 or $2, selling for 12 to 14 and making about $8 on them, $7 on them. It's not bad because they're easy, lightweight, easy to store, no room. That's fine. But if we're talking about Hermes, Burberry, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Coach to a point, Ferragamo somewhat, Trump ties, Vineyard Vine ties, you're talking about ties that are at least $20, $25 on the used market, most between 30 and 40. And that way you can sell them for, if you can pick them up, even if you're paying $4 or $5, you can make a $20 profit on most of these ties easily. And again, they're going to get interest and offers right away. Vineyard Vine ties fly off my shelf. Burberry flies off my shelf, but just make sure they're real. They're faked a lot. There's a ton of videos on YouTube. I don't have any necessarily, maybe I'll do one, but there's a ton of YouTube and Google videos that you can look up that will show you how to tell the difference between a fake Burberry tie and a real one. All those sort of things that you normally look for. The quality, the stitching, the tags, the logos, all that sort of stuff. So designer neckties. I want to do a couple shoes because I know a lot of you guys are shoe sellers and we all know the obvious Nike, vintage Air Force Ones and Nike and Jordans and LeBrons and Yeezys, and we all know about all those. The three that most people sell that are profitable that some of you may not know about are the three following, which I just want to bang out. I think this is what... like 10, 11, and 12. Birkenstocks. If you guys don't know what Birkenstocks are, I'm gonna put them right there, right there. Birkenstocks are fantastic. They're $40, $50 shoes all day long. I see people buy them at flea markets for $5. I see people buy them at thrift stores for $5 or $6. Sell them for $45. They make a $39 profit. They pay the fees and the shipping. That's, all in, that's the price. So they're at $39. They pay $9 to ship them. They're at $30. They pay $5 or $6 in fees and they make themselves $25. Those shoes do not sit. They fly off the shelves. That's why I titled this video, not just the best profitable items, but the fastest selling items on eBay and on Poshmark and other platforms as well. We typically lean towards eBay for our comps and everything, but they'll fly off the shelves on Posh, Macari, other sites just as easily as they will on eBay. Number 2, Doc Martens. Doc Marten boots, you guys know the handmade, they're made over in Europe. They've got the yellow and red stitching in some of them. They're really, really expensive, brand new, $100, $150 and up. Sometimes I've seen them for $250. Doc Martens are all handmade. They have that stamp, that quality. They're water repellent, most of them. I think all of them maybe. And I watched a whole 20-minute YouTube documentary. If I find it, I'll link it below on how Doc Martens are made by hand, where the people fold the leather workers, they roll that leather and then they stitch that edging and then they put the insoles in it and then they use like a metal heat gun to stamp the bottom on it. It's incredible. If I find that video, I'll link it for you guys. But Doc Martens, fantastic quality, and that's why they sell. They hold up, they're popular, the name, the price, everything. And then the other one is Danskos, which most of you probably know about. Danskos, really popular in the nursing and health field. I guess they hold up as well. They're comfortable to wear to be, nurses that might be on their feet for 12 hours a day. Really popular. Again, I'll put them right there. $40, $50, $60 pairs of shoes in some cases. Brand new. I know they can be upwards of 80 to 100. So really good sellers. Same as the Birkenstocks. They'll pretty much flip for, $20, $25, $30 profits if you're getting $50 out of them, shipping and fees, etc. Stuff you can pay $5 and $10 for. All right, next, number 13 is Cashmere Sweaters. No particular brand. Cashmere Sweaters from almost every brand do really well. Now, this is more of a fall and winter thing. We are in summer months, so June, July, and August. Probably not the best months to list them, but Cashmere Sweaters around September and October. When fall starts, fantastic investment. Don't turn your nose up to any kind of brand. If you're paying a few dollars for a cashmere sweater, you'll get at least 15, 20 out of no-name brands. If you're selling named brands, you know, I've seen like somebody sold a J. Crew cashmere sweater. They linked to me probably like a month ago, and this was before summer even started yet, in springtime, a month or two ago. They sold it for like 60 bucks, a J. Crew cashmere sweater. I've never even seen one before, and J. Crew, of course, struggling out in the world, right? $60 for a used one. Fantastic cashmere sweaters. Number 14, this is an odd one, but it's one of my favorite items to sell. I'm not a golfer. I would like to be a golfer. I do golf, but I'm not good at it. My handicap's got to be like 800. But the Masters, if you guys are familiar with Augusta, Georgia, the Masters golf tournament from the PGA, that's where they hold it every year. It's the green jacket. If you've ever seen Tigers won it a couple times and Phil Mickelson, the Masters has a map of the United States as its logo in yellow, and it has the red flag, the T flag, on the logo in the spot where Georgia is on the map, Augusta, Georgia. It's kind of in like, I think southeast Georgia. I could be wrong about that. Somebody in Georgia help me out there. Southeast Georgia, I believe. It's about an 8-hour drive from where I am, 7-8 hours. Anyways, the Masters has its own line of polo shirts and other shirts, t-shirts. They do really well. Most of the polos that I get from the Masters, if it's a standard white or green or even the black one, 30 bucks used, right? 25, 30 bucks used. If I get one of the odd colors, I sold a purple one for 40. I sold a pink one for 40. I sold, we sold that lime green one, not the dark green, like the green jacket or the Augusta map, but the lime green we sold for like 45. So red we sold for like 32, all different colors. Done well. Masters polos and their t-shirts do well too, 20, 25 bucks, just because you have to get it from like the Augusta shop. I don't know if they ship those out to stores. They probably do, but most of their stuff is sold at the clubhouse on Augusta's golf course, and it's super expensive. I looked it up. The polos at the Augusta golf course normally are like $70. The week of the Masters, where the tournament is held once a year, they're like $90 because there's thousands and thousands of people there at the golf course. So very expensive shirts. They sell really well. So men's golf polos in general sell well, but the Masters for sure. The last one I want to leave you guys with, and this will help you out, please add all of these to your list, is trendy women's fashion brands from known designers. So what am I talking about? Kate Spade, right? Kate Spade is a huge one that people just eat up. We named Lilly Pulitzer a little while ago. Also Marc Jacobs. Marc Jacobs is a trendy, he makes men's and women's branded stuff. Kate Spade is pretty much all women's. I don't think Kate Spade makes anything men's, but Marc Jacobs is both, but primarily the women's stuff does really, really well. Also, those trendy hipster boho type brands, I don't know what you guys want to call it, but Free People, Anthropologies, that sort of stuff still sells well. I know it's not the market that it used to be, but if you find the right pieces of that, unique, designer, lightweight, hipster, especially with the summer months coming up, those type of long dresses, airy dresses, kind of like that sheer stuff, that stuff can be $30, $40, $50, $60 items without breaking a sweat. So trendy fashion, hipster, boho, women type branded stuff that you don't normally see in some regions. We don't see that in Florida at all. Those stores exist, but they're just not like they are over on the California coast, maybe up in New York, maybe in Miami. Here in Tampa and Florida, you don't see a lot of it. Miami tends to lean towards other stuff, the Latin influence, but that sort of stuff really popular in California. If you find it across the country, it's really worth selling, and keep an eye out for it. So these are 15 clothing and shoe item mix that you guys should really be looking for that will sell for great profits. They sell fast, and they're all part of lists that I put together in 2019 and built for my 2020 list, and they're not changing this year. This stuff, this trend and this fashion has stayed right where it is through the majority of last year into this year. And that's why, the list that I made with 700-800 different items on it is really great, because none of those items have really moved out of the range of at least worth buying, if not great to buy. So there you go, guys. I appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoy those solds. Check them out, look them up. If you don't know any of them, add them to your list. Make sure you're looking for them out in the stores, or if you're on social media and people are offering you groups and boxes for sale, those would be great items to include in those boxes, and people put them out there and you see it and you're like, I know that's 30, 40 bucks. I can pay 50 bucks for the whole box. One item alone almost give me my money back. Boom. So there you go. I'll put this list down below. I'll put links if you want to grab the whole entire list of 700-800 items that I have, along with all the other videos and how-tos and bolos. I'll put that below as well. It's a really great deal, and it'll help you expand your knowledge and help you sell more items for better profits faster on eBay, Posh, Etsy, Shopify, Amazon, wherever it is that you do your selling. Thank you guys for watching. As always, make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this, if it helps you, if you like the videos. And if you want to see more, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.